Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Life of a Business Manager podcast. This is the podcast where we break down the real world skills that every business manager needs to succeed. I'm your host, Sina Chan, and in today's episode, we're talking about how you actually break into the business management role. So, I'm going to tell you exactly how to get into a business management role with not much experience. But again, this is not guaranteed. This is just from my experience and what I've seen out there. And I'm sure anyone that's looking for a job right now, it is a tough job market. I'm saying that very loud and clear because I've seen it and I'm hearing it from everyone that I know that's looking for a job. And if you've ever stared at a job posting and it's demanding 5 to 10 years of experience before you even become a business manager, this episode is for you. And I hope it puts everything in perspective for you as you're looking for your current role or assessing your current position right now. So let's get into the episode. Okay, everyone, let's get started with segment one, which is there's no direct path to becoming a business manager. Let's just start with one of the biggest misconception about becoming a business manager. People think there's an actual clear career path that you just earn your degree, you apply for a business manager position, and that's it. But the reality is, there isn't a clear path. Most people don't graduate and walk straight into a business manager role. We all wish we did, but that doesn't happen like that in reality. In fact, some of the best business managers I've worked with started in a completely different position. They were actually working as, for example, administrative assistants, coordinators, analysts, project managers, office managers, and even retail or some sort of customer service leader. And honestly, that's exactly how my journey started. I just wanted to share my experience on how to become a business manager, but how I started as well. I didn't become a business manager overnight. I started my career as an analyst. My job was to work behind the scenes, analyzing data, building reports, managing budgets, identifying operational issues, and helping leaders make informed decisions. And at the time, I wasn't managing a department. I was actually learning how the business actually works behind the scenes. And as my experience grew, I found myself taking on more and more responsibility. I started improving processes, coordinating projects across multiple teams, solving problems before they actually became a bigger issue, and becoming the point person in order to keep the operations moving. And looking back, I realized I was already doing many of the things as a business manager does in the long haul before I ever even had the title. And that's what I've seen with so many successful business managers out there is what made them successful wasn't their previous job title. It was actually the work they were already doing behind the scenes, solving problems before anyone even asked them, coordinating projects, improving workflows, managing budgets, building relationships, and helping teams keep moving forward. They were already thinking like a business manager, and the title simply came later. So if you're listening to this episode wondering whether you're qualified to be a business manager, I want you to stop and focus on not just the job title, but start paying attention to exactly your responsibility that you're currently working on right now, because you might be a lot closer to becoming a business manager than you realize. Okay, everyone, let's get into segment two, which is talking about the 3 steps to get into a business management role. And from my experience, and after working with so many incredible leaders the past years, I've seen 3 common steps that consistently lead people into business management roles. And what's interesting is none of them actually require you to start with the title. Number one is the administrative track. This is one of the most common ways people break into business management. So, for example, you might actually start off in a role as an administrative assistant, an executive assistant, an office coordinator, or another support role. And at first, you're focused on keeping things organized, but over time, people begin trusting you with bigger responsibilities. And maybe you're coordinating leadership meetings, managing vendors, helping build budgets, supporting operational planning, and keeping multiple departments aligned. But before you know it, you're no longer just supporting the business, you're actually helping run it. I've worked with so many business managers who started this way, and their title didn't make them a leader. Their ability to actually solve problems, stay organized, and keep the business moving forward made them a business manager. And here's something I've learned throughout my career is don't chase the title first, chase the responsibilities. Now, I'm not going to say go and get more work without the title and the pay, because that's not right. But for you to grow into a role, you will need to learn it first and start doing it When you consistently perform at the next level, it's actually much easier for you to make the case that your title should reflect the work you're already doing. Okay, everyone, let's go into the next step number 2, which is the analyst or the project manager track. So this one is very personal because I actually started my career as an analyst. My job wasn't to manage people, it was actually to understand the business behind the scenes. I spent my days analyzing data, building financial reports, tracking budgets, identifying operational challenges, and helping leadership make informed decisions. And what I didn't realize at the time was that I was building the exact skills that would eventually make me as a business manager. And as the years went on, I wasn't actually just creating reports anymore. I was leading operational improvement projects. I was coordinating cross functional teams. I was helping departments solve problems and managing large budgets. And eventually, I wasn't just analyzing the business, I was helping lead it. And that's when the title caught up with me. So if you're an analyst right now, a project coordinator, a project manager, or someone working in operations right now, don't underestimate where you are. You're learning how organizations work, you're learning how decisions get made, and you're learning how to connect finance, operations, strategy, and people together. And those are great business manager skills. Okay, everyone, let's go to the last step number 3, which is work for a small business, a startup, or creating your own business. So, honestly, this might be one of the fastest ways to become a business manager because if you've ever worked for a small company, you already know how it goes. Your job description is more like suggestions. One day you're helping customers, the next day you're creating invoices, then you're working with vendors or helping with payroll or fixing operational issues or building reports or solving problems that nobody else has the time to tackle. And you wear multiple hats when you work for a small business or startup. And while it does feel overwhelming at times, it's also one of the best learning experience that I think you'll ever have. Small businesses or startups will force you to think beyond your own role. They teach you how every part of the business connects from finance and operations to customer experience and team communication. And those experiences will help you become a adaptable leader. And if there's one quality that I've seen in every successful business manager I've worked with, it's adaptability. And adaptability is so important because situations change constantly, and you need to be able to adapt in every single scenario in order to move forward in the business. No matter which step you take, you can either take the administrative, the analyst, or the project base, or working for a small business. The common thread is this: you earn the role by constantly solving problems, creating value for yourself, and becoming the person that everyone trusts to keep the business moving forward. And that's what turns a good employee into a great business manager. And that's what I want to close out segment 2 with is there's so many skill sets that you can learn in your current role right now that will be helpful for you in order to become a business manager. Alrighty, everyone, let's get into the last segment 3, which is what to do if you're starting from ground zero and you want to be a business manager. Now, maybe you're listening to this episode and thinking, okay, Sina, that's great, but I'm not already an analyst, I'm not a coordinator, I'm not a project manager, and I'm just trying to figure out how to get my foot in the door. If that's you listening, I want you to know something. I didn't start my career thinking I was going to become a business manager either. I did have a degree in business management, but I didn't think I would actually go into that role. So when I started as an analyst, I was focused on learning the business. I was building reports, analyzing data, helping with budgets, and supporting operational decisions behind the scenes. And at the time, it probably looked like a very technical role on paper, but what I was really doing was learning how an organization functions. So looking back, that behind the scenes exposure was one of the best things that I think could have happened to me because it gave me a full view of the business before I ever had the business management title. So if you're starting from zero, my advice is this: find an environment where you can see multiple parts of the business, not just one small piece of it. That could be a small business, a startup, a growing healthcare organization, a nonprofit, or any company where people are wearing multiple hats. Because honestly, a little chaos can actually be a good thing for you because in this role, you are dealing with chaos all day. And some of the best business managers out there that I've met were developed in environments where resources were limited, processes were still being built, and everyone had to jump in and help whenever they could. And that's where you learn the real world skills that don't always show up on a job description. You learn how departments connect, you learn how problems affect multiple teams, You learn how to communicate with different personalities. You learn how to prioritize when everything feels important. And most importantly, you learn how to solve problems in real time. And one of the biggest lessons I've learned in healthcare operation is that business managers aren't successful because they know one thing really well. They're successful because they actually understand how all the moving pieces fit together. So if you're early in your career, don't worry so much about finding the perfect title right now. I would focus on finding opportunities where you can learn, solve problems, and gain exposure to different parts of the business. Because every time you understand another piece of how the organization works, you're building the foundation that can eventually lead you into a business manager role. And that's exactly how my journey started. And it's the same pattern I've seen over and over again with successful business managers out there. Okay, everyone, before we wrap up today's episode, I wanted to leave you with 3 takeaway things that you can focus on. So the first one is to audit your current role. Write everything you're responsible for today that wasn't in your original job description. Think about the projects that you've led, the budgets you've managed, the processes you've improved, and the projects that you've solved. So that list is proof of your growth and it may already qualify you for your next opportunity. Second is don't overlook small or growing organizations. Some of the best career opportunities come from companies that value your potential and not just your title. Those environments give you the chance to learn faster, take on more responsibility, and build an experience that prepares you to be a business manager. And third is to own your experience. Don't sell yourself short. Instead of saying, I'll help with budget, say exactly what you did. Did you manage expenses? Did you build reports? Did you improve operations? Or did you coordinate projects? Just be confident in the value that you've created. And I'll leave you with this. So if you're waiting for someone to call you as a business manager, don't. Keep building the skills, keep creating value, and let your work speak for itself because the title will just follow. Okay, everyone, that's it for today's episode. Again, thank you so much for tuning into the Life of a Business Manager podcast. If you found today's episode helpful, share it with another colleague or anyone interested in being a business manager. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you haven't already, please follow the podcast, leave a review, and connect with the Life of a Business Manager community online. And if you have any questions about the role, suggestions for future topics, or stories of your own, I'd love to hear from you. You can find my email in the show notes below. As always, thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, bye everyone. Hi everyone. Just a reminder, the content provided in our podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as professional advice. Listeners are encouraged to consult with appropriate professionals before making any business decisions based on the information provided in this podcast. We do not endorse any products or services mentioned unless stated in any of our episodes. Thank you so much for listening.